Okay, because of how well you're doing lately, we're going to skip ahead some steps here, try some more challenging things, and get us even closer to moving on to the next area of study, which will be the single note stuff, single string stuff with the eighth notes. So, we got here a couple things. So, each bar, that's the rhythm that you did, but each bar is different. And then second half of the page, it's the exact same rhythm. I'll adjust that here in a minute. Actually, you know what? Let me do it like this. So yes, this is the same rhythm, just shown in a different way. So this is, I think we've done some stuff like this before, where, yeah, we'll see like the same rhythm done two different ways. But because every bar is different, I just wanted to make it all on the same page. Because we're going to do this rhythm and then another one here. So, much like one of the rhythms that you recently did, you had a bunch of eighth notes tied to eighth notes, and then another rhythm the same where you didn't have as many eighth notes tied to eighth notes, we just used quarter notes. So, you know, here we got your quarter note, or not quarter note, got your eighth note, and then eighth note tied to eighth note tied to eighth note, quarter note. So remember, an eighth note tied to an eighth note, same length as a quarter note. So down here, this bar is the same as this bar, 100% the same, just looks a little different. So again, just like this stuff just allows you to see the downbeats and upbeats more easily. This way you could say is like cleaned up a bit more because you don't have as many ties, but it's just not as easy to read on the fly. Meaning it's not as easy to just look at and know what it is. Of course, the more you see things like this, the more you get familiar with it, and then you just can recall the pattern faster and faster every time you come across it. Because most of the time, when you're looking at tabs online, if you get a book, if they even make tab books anymore, you know, magazines, if they even make magazines with guitar tab anymore, I have no idea. I haven't seen those in a long time. But then again, I don't even look for them. But anyway, you're most likely going to come across stuff like this. So I want you to have the easy way and the not so easy way so you can practice both, or practice while looking at both. So let me go back to this view. Okay, so here we go with our usual demonstrations, saying it as we play it as much as possible, from 60 to at least 120, because when you have stuff that's changing every bar, you really need to be able to say that count, because man is it helpful. Very, very helpful. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 4, 1, 2, and 2, 3, and 3, 4, and done. Alright, so now I'm going to go to the not so easy way of reading it. And let me see here. Make some adjustments. Trying not to drop the guitar at the same time. Alright, once again at 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 4, 1, 2, and 2, 3, and 3, 4, and done. Alright, here we go with 120. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 4, 1, 2, and 2, 3, 4, and done. 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 240. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeats. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now this other one. So I'm definitely skipping some steps on this guy. I'll put this back up here. So I'll keep it like that. So we're working with polyrhythm and polymeter. So polyrhythm, people think, I mean, with the name, it sounds like it just means multiple rhythms. But it's really like multiple tempos. Because we got like 2 tempos happening at the same time. And they keep lining up after a certain amount of beats. So what's happening here is a rhythm pattern where you have 2 chords evenly spaced across 1, 2, 3 beats. So I like to call that a 2 across 3 polyrhythm. Now, usually when people talk polyrhythms, they say like 2 against 3. I guess that's fine. I mean, that's the usual way of saying it. But I feel like when you say 2 across 3, to me it makes more sense because you're saying you have 2 things across 3 things because you're spacing it evenly across. So every 3 beats we have 2 chords. So right here, once again, we got 3 beats. 1, 2, 3 beats, and each of these chords is evenly spaced. Each chord is 1.5 beats long. Quarter note tied to an 1/8 note, that's 1.5 beats. 1/8 note tied to a quarter note, that's 1.5 beats. So here it happens again. So a quarter tied to an 8, 8 tied to a quarter, that's 1, 2, 3 beats. 1.5 beats, 1.5 beats. Those 2 chords, 1, 2, 3 beats long. So this is, once again, the easier way of reading it to see exactly where all the down beats and up beats are a little more quickly. Down here, not so easy. But you got all these dotted quarter notes. Dotted quarter note is 1.5 beats long. So remember, when you dot something, you extend the length of it by 1/2. So, got your quarter note, plus half of that. Half of a quarter note is an 1/8 note. So, quarter note tied to an 1/8 note is 1.5 beats long. There you go. Dotted quarter note, same thing, 1.5 beats long. So, as many times as we can put in a dotted quarter note, that's what I did. So I also mentioned polymeter. Well, why that? So the polyrhythm is, again, basically 2 different tempos happening at once because you got, again, the 3 chords are clicking away there, or not 3 chords, the 3 beats clicking away at one specific tempo. But the chords, you're hitting every 1.5 beats, but it's always consistent. So you got the 3 chords consistently happening at one tempo, and then you got the 2 chords. Did I say chords again? 3 beats happening consistently over and over again. And you got the 2 chords happening at a consistently spaced pace right there. So the polymeter is 2 different time signatures happening at once. Obviously, it's in a 4/4 because it says so. And everything is filled out that way. But the other thing, you could also look at it like you have a 3/4 time signature. Because the rhythmic pattern begins again after 3 beats. Every 3 beats, the rhythmic pattern starts over again. So you could also look at it as like you're strumming in a 3/4 pattern because you keep starting that rhythm over again after every 3 beats. So we will do more stuff with this, like this kind of idea, especially with the 16th notes and some triplet stuff. But that's just a very brief overview of it. I do have a small YouTube lesson series that's been out for a while. Talks about polyrhythms and polymeters. If you'd like to learn more about that, definitely check that out. So if you look up like Mile High Shred, polyrhythm, polymeter, you'll find that stuff. But yeah, let's get into playing this guy. So as far as like counting it, you could say more than what you play. And the reason for that is you got so much stuff not being played, it could be helpful to like say the 2s and the 3s and stuff like that. And I'll demonstrate that. The other thing is ghost strums, as a lot of people like to call it. So I want you to keep that strumming hand moving as much as you can, because it's going to help make sure you're in the right place and stay metronomically correct the whole time. So basically, you're going to hit the chord to start. You miss an upstroke, miss a downstroke, then you hit the upstroke. So you got to check a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. So what I do a lot of times with people is just get them playing something like that. It's like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Something like that. And eventually work into making it like a 4/4 time signature. So basically, start off as a 3/4, then move to a 4/4, and then go into this kind of thing. But again, because you've been doing so well, I'd figure let's just try and skip some steps and see how you do. So if this ends up being too much of a pain in the butt, that's all right. I will scale it back and help out with it. But let's give it a try. So yeah, counting as a 3/4 can be very helpful with something like this. So basically, counting it like 1, 2, and 3, 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 1, 2, and 3 could be very helpful. Once it gets going really fast, you might just want to go like the 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and, or even just doing like 1 and 1 and. But at the slow tempo is going like 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. Can be very helpful. But when you start applying all the chord changes, that's where it really gets tricky. But you just got to make sure you're changing at the right spot. But just locking into that down, up, that's the big thing right there. So you might just want to practice that for a little bit. Just get used to that. Let's get the metronome on. So, like 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. And when that's feeling okay, then start adding in the chords. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3. 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now at that tempo, because it's going so fast, I'm just locked into that strumming, and I'm counting how many times I've hit the chord. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Because I know when I hit that G5, it'll be on an upstroke. 1, 2, 3, upstroke. Downstroke. So switching out of that C5, it's a downstroke again. So kind of being aware of that can be helpful. So you start the A5 on the downstroke, G5 comes in on the upstroke, C5 on the downstroke. And then when you start your repeats, that will also start on the downstroke. So really the G5 is the only chord that you hit an upstroke or change into a chord with an upstroke. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. And 240. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. repeats. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if this one, either 1 or 2, number 1 or number 2 feel like especially difficult, there's a good reason for that. These are supposed to be challenging. So they are not supposed to be easy. They are not. But if they end up being easy for you, fantastic. And if not, no problem. All right, any questions come up, let me know. I will see you again in your new videos.